moving on to our last division today, and that is going to be the NFC
Arizona.
West.
Let's go. What you got for Arizona?
Arizona, I think made
Did I mess up your the way you were going?
Yeah, it's okay though.
Good, because you fucked me. I just want to go to the team that's at the top of my list, Arizona.
Arizona made a lot of moves, and I think that it warrants them getting. I think it warrants them getting a B plus, maybe even an A minus. I've been teetering on this one, and I've switched it a couple of times today, moving it around. And the reason why is because they made a lot of moves, and it's hard to grade a team that's really, 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 really piss poor. Like, this is one of the worst teams in the league, like bottom 4, 3, 2. Like, Chicago got the number 1 pick in the draft, but they're not a bottom 3 team. Like, that's because Carolina's there with them. But bringing in guys like Marvin Harrison Jr., Max Melton, and Darius Robinson to this team. Also adding Jonah Williams to an offensive line that really needs the help, so Kyler Murray doesn't have to run around all over the place, which he's probably going to because he can't see over the offensive line. So maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't. And then boosting up their cornerback position with a Sean Murphy Bunting in free agency as well. I think warrants a B plus, but I think it's skewed a little bit because they're kind of a poor team. Would I want a not Jonah Williams? I like Jonah Williams. Like a Sean Murphy Bunting on like a better team as like a team that's stacked with corners? Probably not, but it boosts up a corner room that's really, really bad. So I think this is probably a B plus for me.
B plus for me too. They're entering a rebuild with a new regime and everything like that, and they added obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. Kyler Murray's still a star. People forget about him because he was hurt.
Absolutely.
And they had a good draft. So there's not much more you can ask out of an offseason for a team that's not expected to compete next year. I think they're going to win some games next year and surprise some people. I mean,
I absolutely
they surprised a couple teams last year, if I remember correctly. So why can't they surprise some teams this year?
Yep. And they beat the Eagles too.
Come for the analysis, stay for the Eagles. Yeah,
yeah. See, I don't give a fuck. They beat the fucking Eagles. That's my cat is freaking out right now. Next team, Drew. Since this is your division, who do you want to cover next? You want to take the reins on the next one?
Yeah, I want to hear your Rams grade.
My Rams grade?
Yeah, let's go with the Rams.
Why do I feel like you're like kind of I feel like you're trying to pressure me because of the guard thing?
I just know that based off of our conversation about the Rams and what they did this offseason previously, there might be some disagreements here.
It's an A.
Disagreements are good for the podcast.
Yeah, it's an A for me, and I think it's a pretty easy A. If Aaron Donald doesn't retire, I think it's really close to an A+. The pieces that they brought in on defense, their entire secondary got so much better with Cam Curl and Darius Williams. They brought in another corner as well, and it's slipping my mind currently. But the corners that they brought in, the safeties that they brought in, along with Jonah Jackson and Kevin Dotson, your favorite guards on the planet, protecting an old, decrepit Matt Stafford is really important. Also bringing in some of my favorite players in the draft in Jared Verse and Braden Fisk. And then the only thing that's confusing is the Blake Corum thing for me.
No!
It's
not confusing. All he does is take fucking handoffs and score fucking touchdowns. Do you hate touchdowns, Jacob? I know you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. Do you hate touchdowns?
Kyren Williams scores touchdowns.
He's a different type of back. Kyren Williams is a freaking speedy speedster, and Blake Corum's a sledgehammer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I get it.
I know your team's trying to eliminate the running back position, but some teams still value it, okay?
I think that with all the additions that the Rams made, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that it's really important for them to not rely on the offense as much this year. As explosive it is probably going to be, but making those additional making those additions on the defense kind of shows you their hand right now. We want to be a really heavy defensive team. Yes, we still want to score a ton of points, and we want to take advantage of the time that we have with Matt Stafford, having an elite wide receiver, potentially if he can get back to 100% form, and Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, 2 running backs that are gonna crush it, and an offensive line that's stout. We want to just take advantage of the young guys we have now before paying them, bring in a bunch of defensive guys, stack up the defense. Let's go to work. So I think the Rams, are going to be incredibly competitive this year with the 49ers. So the Rams are getting an A.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing I think the Rams could have done is maybe brought in a backup plan at quarterback. They don't really have one. Carson Wentz last year.
Didn't they sign Jimmy Garoppolo?
Oh, they did sign Jimmy, didn't they?
Yeah, okay.
That's not much of a backup plan. He's suspended the first 4 games of the season. I forgot about that. Fine. Jimmy Garoppolo, still. Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't think steps in and takes the reins to a divisional championship type expectation for the Rams here. Right? Like they could compete for that type of thing, right? I don't think Jimmy fills in there. So but I don't know. Honestly, I would kind of had a little bit of a nightmare all offseason that they were going to bring in like Jameis Winston, that type of player. And I'm a big Jameis fan. I don't know if anybody knows that. I don't know. I don't think he's really ever gotten his fair shake at anything. I know he had some years with the Bucs, but yeah, they had a good offseason. It sucks. They didn't have as good as an offseason as the Eagles did, but whatever.
No, I would disagree with that. Okay, go ahead, take the reins on the 49ers. What are the 49ers for you?
I give the 49ers a D.
Okay.
How much higher were you?
Not that much higher.
Like what the best thing that the 49ers did was sign Leonard Floyd. I guess, they signed Gross Matos, Jordan Elliott, but they also lost Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw. Now,
I saw you guys and us as like the same grades, pretty much. Like losing a lot, not getting a whole lot back in return.
Javon Kinlaw was
like
bum.
One splash guy.
So yeah, that's fine. Leonard Floyd, I think, helps us. Chase Young sucked. Losing Cleveland Farrell sucks. So all the players we lost on the defensive side, defensive line, we replaced. I really like the Leonard Floyd signing. I think that's underrated. I think that's going to help us.
But, I think he's going to be pretty good.
We signed Campbell, but that's because Dre is hurt. So there's that. We drafted a corner who's going to play slot corner for us. Generally, rookies don't step in and have a ton of success at slot corner, but whatever. If we can find somebody to play slot corner to keep Diamador Lenore outside, that's a win for us. Hufanga, getting him back from injury, that's going to be a plus. Pearsall, whatever. Like, I've watched a lot of tape on him now. The dude is an absolute stud at contested catches. And I think that's something that our offense hasn't had previously. Deebo Samuel doesn't go up and snatch the ball. Brandon Ayuk's always wide the hell open, so he doesn't go up and snatch the ball.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is we have the most expensive wide receiver room in the NFL, and we don't throw the fucking football. So unless Kyle Shanahan's going to come out. Listen, if Brock Purdy's going to throw the football 30 to 40 times a game next season, then I'll shut up about everything we're going to do. But just the way that we've continued to build this team, I think we could have let the Pearsall thing go and drafted a right tackle, which could potentially be a left tackle of the future, moved up to do something like that, and I'd have been a little bit happier just because of Pearsall is great in theory, but when you're talking about the offense that we run, it just doesn't make sense now that we have two. And I get that this is the idea that we're moving off of Deebo next season. Fine. But again, what he does well is not the way Kyle Shanahan has run his offense in the past. So unless all of a sudden he's going to have this huge, and the other thing that's a little underrated here is you bring in a first-time defensive coordinator, which is fine. I'm cool with that because the 49ers defense is like Fred Warner runs that defense. It's fine. They're going to be fine. But you also bring in Brandon Staley for what? in case this dude doesn't work out, then why the fuck did we just not give Brandon Staley the job? Like, I know
Yeah.
Brandon Staley's going to bring in some different concepts and he's going to do a couple different things, and you're going to see a different wrinkles with the 49ers defense this year, which should make us better. But it's a little suspicious when it would be like if, hey, we're going to give you, here, Jacob, here you go. You're now the foreman. You're now running work. And then when you show up at the job site on Monday morning, your dad is standing over there in the corner. What the fuck is he
Right.
doing here? Like, I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be running this job. Oh, so if I fuck up and suck, you're going to give it to my dad? That's kind of what it feels like with Brandon Staley. Like, he's just hanging out. Like, he's just like, okay, I'm here. I'm watching what's going on. But if things don't work out, they're just like, boom, you're the defensive coordinator. And maybe they were upset because they didn't have that on the staff last year when Wilkes was not doing what he needed to do. But still, how are you going to be successful when Plan B is sitting right next to you?
Yeah, it's a little bit weird. I think the most significant addition outside of Leonard Floyd that happened for you guys was Dominic Pooney. I think he's gonna make. I think he's gonna make an immediate impact on your guys' team. Obviously, you highlighted everything really well, so I'm not gonna re-chalk it all up.
I would fucking hope so.
I just the only thing is just I think Pooney's gonna make a pretty big splash impact this year for you guys.
Yeah, he's gotten some rave reviews at rookie training camp, which I'm just gonna put this out here. Rookie training camp doesn't fucking matter. They're playing against players that aren't even NFL players, like players that aren't even undrafted free agents. Like, they're not even getting invites. They're just out there for bodies. But there was a lot of talk about him that this may be a potential tackle development player, a player that could slide to tackle eventually, which was not something that I read much about leading up to the draft with him. But then again, the offense that we run and the agile nature that our tackles need to be, it makes sense that he's not, a 360-pound guard. So,
yeah. And that is all of our offseason grades.
I know I was going to fuck you up by going, poor Seahawks. They don't even get to get mentioned on this.
Oh, they did, dude. See, oh my gosh. They don't deserve it, but wow, I cannot believe why don't you go ahead and I totally exit out of my dock because I have my games on another one. Why don't you go ahead and start off?
So you lose Pete Carroll, but you replace him with Mike McDonald, who is one of the best defensive minds in the game. You lose bigger names than you added, Jordan Brooks, Bobby Wagner, Damian Lewis. Obviously Leonard Williams comes back, so that's good. Their draft, Byron Murphy was cool. We both love Christian Haynes. But the thing is, Seattle didn't do anything. You're not competing with the Rams. You're not competing with the 49ers. You're still trotting Geno Smith out there. So, whatever. Tapioca pudding here.
Yeah, I feel like this is another team that's kind of revealing their hand like the Rams are. They want to be a heavy defensive team, and bringing in a Byron Murphy and a Byron Murphy is going to be pretty significant. Re-signing, obviously, Leonard Williams is going to be inevitable, especially with the draft capital that you gave up to sign him. To me, this is a B-, especially losing. I know Bobby Wagner is old, but he also made a huge impact on your defense. Jordan Brooks, impact on the defense. Damian Lewis, guard for your quarterback. So you're losing a couple of pieces, and then it's still kind of weird because you bring in a good defensive minded guy and Mike McDonald coming over from Baltimore, and you're losing some of the defensive pieces. It's a little strange, but again, Byron Murphy comes in with a replacement for some of the pass rush, and then Christian Haynes comes in for a replacement for Damian Lewis, which again, I love Christian Haynes. So maybe you're going to run the ball just into the ground because Christian Haynes is a great run blocker. So also I would like to see a little bit better development next year out of their left tackle since he took a step back. So it's a B- for me just because, like you said, didn't do a whole lot, and you're kind of stuck in the middle of this division where, like you said, teams get better, Arizona gets better, and the Rams get better, and you're not better than the 49ers. So are you finishing last place in this division?
Yes.
And that's going to be nail in the coffin for Geno, who is already, 1 foot out the door. So
yeah, they got the worst quarterback in the division. They're going to finish last in the division, which is funny because that might be 7-9. But
yeah. Okay, well, now that's our offseason grade since I was just going to completely skip over.
So to be clear, you think that the Pittsburgh Steelers had the best offseason?
Them, and let me go back to my grades. There was one more. and the Bears.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep. And then I think the Lions are really close to them too.